Welcome to Better Mojo, Better Life, the podcast that explores the secrets of optimizing intimacy, mastering sexual wellness, balancing hormones, and keeping your vital mojo alive. Hosted by Tim Sawyer and Melissa Vinci, we bring you expert insights, candid conversations, and actionable tips to empower both men and women on their journey to a more fulfilling and vibrant life. Tune in, turn up the mojo, and let's embark on this exciting adventure together. Get ready for Better Mojo, Better Life. Brought to you by Pellicome, the leading provider in bioidentical hormone treatment. Pellicome is setting the standard with the RE3 advanced pellet delivery system for men and women, and the one-of-a-kind patented medical device to insert BHRT pellets. Become a part of the Pellicome revolution. And RegenMax, the only worldwide patented treatment for the reversal of erectile dysfunction with a 97% success rate. And here are your hosts, Tim Sawyer and Melissa Vinci.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tim Sawyer.
And I'm Melissa Vinci.
And we're back for our 7th episode. Can you believe it?
This
is our 7th episode. Going like crazy. It's great to be with everyone today. If you didn't catch our last episode, we would spend some time with Dr. Corey Howard, a GI doctor by trade who transitioned to integrative and functional medicine. Dr. Howard is an outspoken health policy expert, author, and life coach, and a really cool guy. So if you missed that, we encourage you to catch up, give it a listen. His take on wellness and the state of the modern healthcare is a great listen for those looking to get their mojo back and keep it going. And it's interesting too, our guest today, Dr. Christy Van Kirk, has a similar situation to Dr. Howard. He was a traditional GI guy who then transitioned into functional medicine. I'd be curious to hear your take on what that transition looks like. So today we have Dr. Christy Van Kirk, founder of My Healthy Lifestyle Clinic. Dr. Christy, as she's known, is an experienced physician who offers integrative medicine services for patients at her clinic in Cheyenne, Wyoming. Sounds like one of the coolest places in the world. Her passion lies in empowering women to achieve their best health by mind, body, soul, with a focus on supplements, hormones, nutrition, gut health, physical functionality. This is a topic we're going to discuss today. Bioenergetics, first time I've ever seen that phrase, and mindset. She served 10 years in the conventional OBGYN world before transitioning to functional, integrative, holistic medicine and opening her own private practice. Congratulations on that. And by bridging conventional medicine with complementary and alternative therapies, Dr. Christy is able to support patients in their overall well-being with a heart-centered approach. And I could tell she has a big heart, so that would make sense to me just by our brief interaction. And she's got a genuine care for patient success. Dr. Christy, welcome to Better Mojo, Better Life.
Hi, Tim and Melissa. It is such a pleasure to be here. I am so grateful for this opportunity. Thank you for having me.
And we're so happy you're here, Chrissy.
We are happy. You look amazing, and I can't wait to have this conversation. And I know it's going to be inspirational to our listeners, both on the practitioner side as well as the patient side. And I do want to start with the first question is we do spend a fair amount of time on the podcast talking about words like integrative, functional, and holistic. And they can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people, both in terms of the person providing those services and the person potentially receiving them. Talk a little bit about what that means to you and your philosophy towards that type of medicine.
I think it is foundational, and I think it is the most important way to approach health and wellness and healing. I think the 3 words for me that really sum it up are body, mind, soul. Body, we have this tissue, fascia, bones, muscles, hormones, microbiome, blood components that is in that body component. Step 1, body. We have to think about the body. Step 2, mind, the brain, the mindset, our nervous system. Now that we live in this modern, stressful world, we hear a lot about the somatic work, which is a very important component. And finally, soul, the essence, the energy. We are all energetic beings. We come to this planet for a specific purpose. And so really tapping into the soul and listening on a deeper level. So I think it really is just kind of shifting the mindset from when I was in conventional OBGYN. I took care of women and I took care of this certain box of women. And I very quickly learned that I was not serving them on the deeper layer that they were, really wanting and desiring.
Right.
No, I think as a woman, I think that, Chris, you're hitting the nail right on the head. It's like, as an OBGYN, you go in there for a 10-15 minute appointment, and they're looking at, one thing, you're getting a pap smear, you're getting, a quick physical. They are totally forgetting about the mind and the body, and the soul. I mean, it is crazy how, that mind and the soul are completely eliminated in traditional medicine. And I think that it's a big problem in today's society.
But let me ask you this. So American culture, right? This type of conversation, you're talking about mind, body, soul. Most people historically, and I'm curious to hear your take, would kind of put that in a box of, oh, I met this hyper spiritual lady and she's talking about mind, body, soul. And, there's like you said, the small group of people who think like that. And particularly our medical system's not, not set up for that. So American culture, is it your feeling that folks are more open to these discussions now in their approach to how they take care of themselves?
I love that question. And absolutely, I think we see how unhealthy our world and especially our country is becoming when we have just focused on the biochemistry. I think we are starting to awaken and really realize that there is more to the picture. Was drawn towards the woo, if you will, probably like 8 years ago. And I was interested in acupuncture, which, may not be quite as woo, but then Reiki and then
Yeah.
vibrational healing crystals. And then just got deeper and deeper into kind of everything that is in that world that I personally felt like was really helping me take it to the next level in addition to all of the physical earthly things that we were doing. So it was an interesting transition. And I tried to walk that line very carefully, going from the conventional science world. Like, I went to medical school and residency, I
Right.
learned that, but I very quickly realized that there are limitations to it. And I needed a bigger toolbox. So for myself, I was ready to dive in and go all in, and I'm
Uh,
open to breathwork ceremonies and all the things, you name it. I'll even throw in some plant medicine.
yeah.
But to really try to intuitively work with a patient and understand what level of openness they are at as far as how much I share with them, because I also didn't want to scare anybody away. But I
Right.
really do think when we are our genuine selves connecting with the body, mind, soul, if we are open and vulnerable, then the people around us, our community, our patients are more open and vulnerable. And I feel like that leads to a deeper healing opportunity.
It's funny that you say that. And well, one of the things I can imagine is your traditional patient, you start talking like that, and they're like, I think this lady snapped.
And I do have to say, I probably was very lucky that I did 4 years of residency in OBGYN and then 6 years in conventional OBGYN here. And I live in Cheyenne, Wyoming, a town of like 60,000. And we may have the reputation, Wyoming, of being a little conventional and a
Yep.
little slow to be forward thinking. And so it really, I was listening to my heart when I was like, I know that Cheyenne is ready for this. And I know that they need this. But I also was very blessed to have delivered all of their babies, done their hysterectomies, so that when I did make this transition, they didn't say, who is this crazy person?
That's so my follow-up question. I was thinking about this, and again, I was on the site, and it looks like it's a multi-generational practice, meaning you've got younger gals and primarily women. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And so it's it would seem to me historically that when people start thinking this way, meaning, okay, I want to look at holistic medicine, I want to look at exploring supplements and that kind of, they tend to trend older, right? Maybe they've got resources that they didn't have before because this is not much is not covered by insurance. And I'm curious to hear the reactions you're getting when talking to someone in their 20s or in their 30s, who's probably not thinking long-term about these types of things yet. Are you having those conversations, and are you finding ears to hear, and how are you even introducing those conversations around the holistic piece?
Mhm. I think that we're definitely transitioning as humans, and we're getting open to realizing that there is more. The power of the body, the power of the mind, this miracle body that we all get one. You get one in this lifetime. So we're starting to realize that if you take care of your body, mind, soul, it will take care of you. So I think the COVID experience really opened a lot of people's eyes to say the conventional, what I often refer to as sick care system,
Yeah.
isn't sufficient. And I would never knock the conventional world doctors. They are doing the best that they can in an insurance-based model, and so I get that, and my respect goes out to them. But I think most people it was also social media nowadays, so much education available out there for free. I think that all ages really are having their eyes open to know that there are so many other tools that they can add in. And I think the younger population is starting to realize that they have to start then and be proactive. I would never say it's too late because, somebody in their 60s, 70s, 80s, it's never too late. And you're right, they often are the ones who, have the time on their hands. But the young population is starting to realize, they look around and they see their counterparts being heavy and unhealthy and tired and stressed, and they're realizing that they need to start the lifestyle now. Start it now, be proactive. It makes your whole life so much better.
Right. Well, we're seeing that, I think, Tim, just to interrupt you for a second, I think that we're seeing that with the whole generation with, I think the young kids are starting to look at Botox, and they're not looking at Botox. They're looking at, just for the wrinkles. They're looking for, helps the jaw, helps sweating. I think so. They've been moved to that different mindset. So I think when you talk about peptides and you talk about supplementation and things for longevity, I think there's such a more educated group. So because of that, and because of the social media, I agree with you, they're being able to say, okay, I need to look at other alternatives, just not traditional medicine, and how can I help myself and get older? We just trained another 20 healthcare professionals this Saturday.
That's awesome.
And we pelleted 23 people during that time. And we had, from women in their early 40s, getting testosterone, to then we pelleted a gentleman who was 88 years old, and his wife was 86. And, a lot of the doctors are like, well, how old can you pellet to? And, it was great to see that, that you're talking about people that are getting pelleted in early 40s. And then we went up to 86 years old, 87 years old. So it was, the doctors that were getting trained are seeing that there's benefits that are, in 20, 30 years of you doing this, there's benefits of taking good supplementation, taking BHRT, taking peptides, and what that's going to do for you. And I think, Christy, you probably, convinced a lot of people to kind of do a little bit of alternate medicine, because you're so big on peptide and peptide health, and helping people with that and supplementation and doing everything more on the natural basis. That I think probably I would venture to say that your patients have embraced that. And so they've been able to embrace the alternative side of medicine, because they're seeing the results of them getting great health care from you.
So my question is, in your practice, Dr. Christy, to get people to wellness, are these people are you still doing traditional OB/GYN? You still delivering babies and that type of stuff now, or not?
I am not delivering babies or doing surgery anymore. We have transitioned to the point where I'm not on call. And I think that was part of my wake up call when I was taking care of my patients. I was telling them, decrease your stress, the importance of sleep. And finally, I got to the point where I knew I was going to burn myself out. And so I finally had to stop and say, gosh, walk the walk. And my passion has always been health and wellness. I had parents who are now 74 and they look like they're in their 60s and healthy and active. I grew up watching them exercise on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So I learned to exercise and the importance of physical activity and moving the body. I have always been drawn to supplements, but I feel like as I transitioned into healthy lifestyle medicine we're now going on 6 years. I can't believe it, but I have done even more of walking the walk, and I feel like it shows. I feel like I look healthier,
Well, I can just look at you
younger.
and it shows. I can tell you that. So
Thank
good for
you.
you.
She is rocking. She's fabulous. She's like fabulous inside and out.
Oh,
You look
Inside and out.
amazing. And
Yeah.
so I have a question for you, because as someone, I think you've got a unique take on this, because you were trained in traditional medicine, you have experience in that, and now and I don't even know why we call it traditional medicine. And we call what you do alternative. I hate that. It drives me crazy. That alone confuses people.
Right.
But my question is, as it relates to the medical system in general, having been on both sides. So if you look at semaglutide, tirzepatide, and this explosion in excitement, and Oprah coming out and saying what she said about these medications, that we're seeing the secondary and tertiary effects of big weight loss, right? So in my own life, I lost 40 pounds. Tirzepatide was a big driver in that. I'm grateful. But it was the secondary and tertiary effects. So my blood pressure was 150/10. Now it's 125/75. One of my blood pressure medications I got off of, I had ulcerative colitis. I no longer take medication for that. So wouldn't it behoove the insurance companies as a businessman to say, hey, maybe we should just not restrict covering those medications to, hyper obese, super obese, and diabetics? Do you ever see a world where we start looking at peptides and supplements and insurance companies go, you know what, we got you?
I sure hope so, Tim. And I think to even just go back to how you started this question, thinking traditional medicine and then alternative medicine, I think we have to ultimately get to the part that both sides work together and both sides respect each other, because I definitely felt as I went from the traditional world to the alternative world, like I wasn't necessarily welcomed in the alternative world because they would say, oh, those doctors, all they care about is money. And it's like, no, that absolutely is not the truth. But then as I make this transition, some of my traditional friends who are dear, dear friends, like they, are not seeing all the data out there yet because they're staying in what they were trained in residency, and like current new things takes 30 years to make it into that world. So I think really knowing that we all have to work together as a team is absolutely key. And gosh, congratulations on the results with the tirzepatide and the work that you did with that. It is so wonderful for people to see inspiration like that and to know that that kind of huge transformation is possible. We at my clinic, we do prescribe semaglutide and tirzepatide.
Yep.
I feel like in the media anywhere, you're going to have people that are all in. It's amazing. It's the best thing in the world. And then you're going to have people on the opposite end of the spectrum saying, oh my gosh, no, there's this side effect. And I think this is another place where we have to approach it from the middle and really be sure that we're using it in the right way and that we're educating our patients. And so when we're prescribing it, we definitely educate our patients. You absolutely have to keep your muscle mass. You cannot lose your muscle mass, because if you do, your metabolism is going to tank in the end. And if you come off of the tirzepatide or semaglutide, you're going to regain that weight because you messed up your metabolism. So
Right.
patient education, taking the time to say, you got to lift those weights, keep those muscles strong. You got to get your amino acids in. You got to eat enough protein. You have to sleep so that your body has time to recover. And then using the peptides in a way that we titrate a person to the point that they're getting results. And then after they've gotten to their goal, we titrate them off. But I think there is still, there's starting to be data saying, gosh, does a person continue this at a low dose microdosing because of all the health benefits, anti-inflammation, brain health, blood sugar balance, which is so important for preventing and reducing chronic disease. So I feel like there are so many health benefits that we're just starting to learn. And so it takes approaching it with an open mind and trying to not go all in saying, oh, it's so good and oh, it's so bad. Counseling patients on side effects and how to carefully avoid those side effects so that they get the safest, best results possible. But hopefully, to your question, one day we could be in a world where insurances help support proactive healthcare instead of reactive sick care.
Like as a business, and this is the first time I've even thought about this because it opened my eyes. I said, okay, so here was a peptide, right? Call it a medication, whatever you want, that actually motivated me to take control. Unlike blood pressure medication, which motivates you to not take control because it's managing it for you, right? And so the reason that it's so exciting around these medications is it kind of inspires you. You see, you lose a little weight, and you're like, oh well, if I go for a walk, and if I change the way I eat, and then, but I will say, and I'm curious to hear Melissa's thoughts on this. I'm headed into month 9. I am nervous. I will say, I'm like, how do I want to handle month 10 if there's a month 10 or the next 20 years of staying on tirzepatide because I am enjoying the benefits, right? So do you see, Melissa, what do you guys have data on the rebound for that type of stuff? In other words, when people come off and.
Yeah, it's interesting that you're talking about that, Tim, and asking that question. We had a really nice, long conversation this weekend at training, and Dr. Farah and Marichelle Stoppinghagen, who are both on our medical director team for Peloton, had a really nice conversation with the HCPs about that and kind of giving their experience on that and saying the same thing about, what Dr. Christie is saying is that you don't necessarily want to say, okay, you're going to put them on X amount of dose for 4 months and then all of a sudden shift them off or do, a low, gradually bring them off. It could be exactly a little bit of microdosing, a little bit that you need that, a little bit of that tirzepatide or semaglutide to keep maintaining maybe your A1C level. So I'll give you an example. My sister was on tirzepatide. She didn't have a lot to lose, but she wanted to get herself off metformin. She wanted to bring her A1C level down. She lost some weight. She did bring her A1C level down. And I want to say it's almost about a year later. And her A1C level has been creeping back up. She might not be gaining the weight, but when she's going for her blood work, she's starting to see things come back. So she's going back onto it and doing that little bit of microdosing and saying, okay, I'm not going to do an injection maybe every week, maybe it's twice a month, or and finding what that right level is for her body to keep her A1C level down and keep her off metformin. I think that it is everybody is different. It's kind of like BHRT. It's, I think people like to put everybody in a box and say, okay, this is your dose, take this dose, and then take this dose after 3 months after your lost weight. I think it's really individualized, like we individualize our dosing for BHRT. I think doctors have to learn that they're going to have to individualize the dosing for these weight loss drugs. So you might be at a different microdosing or a different maintenance and schedule than somebody else. And I think that the doctors are really going to have to play with that and educate their patients on it might be a little give and take that we might need to, give you a little bit more, a little bit
Yeah.
less, and find that right level for them to stay on it for the long term. But it is going to be a little bit of dosing, and it is changing your lifestyle around and making
I
sure.
hope we figure it out. I hope everyone gets on it. And then I had a follow-up question because this is driving me crazy. So I have a lot of friends who have gone through their weight loss journey, and lost a lot of weight, and now they have saggy skin. And so prior to the project I'm working on now, I spent 10 years as a co-founder of a digital marketing and software company in the aesthetics industry. So we were the largest digital marketing company. So I've been around aesthetics a long time. And I keep thinking to myself, I feel like there's going to be a twist in this. In other words, I've been talking with a lot of aesthetics people, and they're saying they're noticing that the conversations are starting to shift more towards wanting to work on mind, body, soul, and not necessarily, a wrinkle here and a wrinkle there. And I'm thinking, oh, well, that might impact aesthetic revenue, which it could be. But then I was thinking to myself, but all these people that are losing all this weight, they got some skin to deal with, right? And so are you seeing that? Because you've got some aesthetic stuff in the clinic, right? And
Yes, thank you for this opportunity to share. So some of the high-tech equipment in our office is from the company called BTL. It's a
Yep.
company that was started in the Czech Republic, and the two most popular tools that we use is Emsculpt Neo, which is paddles that can go on abs, flanks, glutes, arms, legs,
Yep.
just not the chest wall because we don't want to cause cardiac arrhythmias, but it is high FEM, high intensity focused electromagnetic energy that causes the muscles to contract
Yep.
to build and strengthen the muscles. And then it has radio frequency, which is a very specific heat to melt the fat. And the amazing thing is not only subcutaneous fat, but visceral fat, our deepest, hardest to lose, most pro-inflammatory, most unhealthy fat that is in our abdomen around our visceral organs. So we see incredible results with this in
Yep.
combination with hormone balance. And I would say testosterone definitely being one of those
Yep.
hormones to keep muscles strong also. And then we also use the Emsella chair, which is a pelvic floor health machine that a person sits on, and it's high FEM, high intensity focused electromagnetic energy to contract the pelvic floor muscles. It is, any of these machines are suitable for men or women. And you sit on this chair with your clothes on, and you can feel your pelvic floor muscles contracting better than doing Kegels. And that helps with urinary symptoms, nighttime urination, stress urinary incontinence, and even sexual health because you're bringing blood flow to the pelvic floor. So we do a combination called core to floor, where we do Emsculpt Neo on the abs and the Emsella chair for men and women, and we just see them stand up taller. Life functionality is better. Your muscles, you can engage your muscles. And I feel like, yes, it helps people look better and it does tighten skin. It works on skin tone, but more importantly, it supports the overall health journey.
Yeah.
And I would also make a plug. We have the M-Face, which is that company's non-surgical facelifts.
Now, will that help with Ozempic face? Because people
Yes.
Got it.
Yes, exactly. So applicators that go on the cheek and on the forehead, and they just came out with a Submentum to work on the double chin. But this is very specific, again, electromagnetic energy at a very specific point to work on the delicate features of the face, because as we lose weight and as we age, the middle of our face sinks in and our nasal labial folds get deeper. And this builds the muscle, it lifts the bone and the fascia to kind of reverse that. And then also the radio frequency to build elastin and collagen to work on skin tone. So
Can
it's
you, not to interrupt, what can you do with this?
So
While we're on the call, I figured.
I guess I'm gonna take my hands in order, Tim.
That's the Submentum, man, that applicator.
Don't want to make it about me, just say it.
I love to make it about you. Come visit us in Cheyenne. But it's just so cool that we
Driving
have
me crazy.
tools that are non-surgical. There's no downtime, and it's a natural result that really contributes to the overall health and wellness picture.
I think that's cool. This nexus between aesthetics and um, mind, body health, I think is going to be really neat because as you see, if people invest time and energy and they get healthy and they do end up with, I keep for the people who aren't going to see this with the video component, I'm grabbing my turkey neck. But you can almost walk around now and go, Tubby, you're on Ozempic. You know, it's like, and I'm looking in the mirror usually. But good for us. So I did, as we start to wind down, I did want to make sure that we gave you an opportunity. I know you strike me as someone who believes in constant improvement, both for yourself and for your patients. So talk a little bit about what you've got coming in the clinic in the next 6 months. I think you've got a really cool idea you want to share with everyone. Go ahead.
Thank you, Tim. So definitely, I feel like personal growth, spiritual growth, entrepreneurs, healers, I feel like we hear that calling. So I have been attending lots of top conferences. I just got back from the biohacking conference, Dave Asprey's biohacking conference, and it fills my cup to be around like-minded, aligned community that is this high vibe that you just can sense it. You can tell by how they look, their vitality, their energy level, how they interact. They're big-hearted, heart-centric
Yep.
people. So now that my brick and mortar is really running smoothly, I have a wonderful teammate, nurse practitioner Kelly, who has seen most of our brick and mortar patients. I really am working on focusing on the virtual side of things to be able to put together evergreen modules, education opportunities, community for, again, aligned people who really want that body, mind, soul approach. And so right now I have an offering that is 30 days of free emails. It's called 30 Days to Goddess Glow. And if a person signs up, you could find it at my Instagram, Dr. DOCTOR.Christy, KRISTY.
Okay.
You enter your email, and I've had a lot of fun making these emails. So a person will get a daily email of lifestyle tips and tools that I have used over these past 5 years. I've been to all these great conferences. Like
Yeah.
I try all the supplements, and I am trying to give the most information to really serve people so that they could say, "Ooh, here's a free little tip that I want to add in. I'm going to sprinkle some baking soda into my coffee to decrease the acidity." Or maybe here are some biohacking tools that are a little bit of an investment. Or here is mindset and the importance of nature and getting sunlight in, and the importance of our circadian rhythms. So I would just be so grateful. Anybody who wants to receive 30 days of lifestyle tips, please sign up, and hopefully you really enjoy it.
I'll be the first one.
I'll be the
In my
second.
life.
All right, Melissa, woohoo!
I want to go put baking soda in my coffee right now. I never heard that.
And you don't even taste it. It's
Now,
awesome.
now I know where Amy got that from. She's telling me to do that because of my acid reflux. So yeah, that was on my list of to-dos to go get, like, because I have like baking soda like sitting in the refrigerator for like months. I'm like, I'm not using that. I need to get some new stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna definitely try that little tip. And listen, from the listeners that I have known Dr. Christy Van Kirk for a very long time. She's been with our Peloton family probably since 2018, a very long time. So she's been a huge inspiration to me. I get to spend time with her at the different A4M conference, and I always get little tidbits and from her. And you have always been my inspiration. I look at her body and her mind, and I've tried to emulate, look at her arms and look at her body and everything, try to emulate that and work out as much as I can and really make sure that I'm taking care of myself. If you had to say for people or women or men in their 50s, early 50s, going into their 60s, what would you say were some of the top supplements that you think that we should be really concentrating on? And if we had to pick one or two that we needed to incorporate into our daily routine, what would you say those would be?
Uh-huh. First, thank you for the nice words, Melissa. It has been such a joy to get to know you and to work with Pellicome. And I also, real quick, want to put in my plug for Pellicome. I went to my first A4M conference when I was making this transition. I had no clue what I was doing. Pellicome, Dr. Jacome was one of my biggest role models and inspiration right when the business was
Yep.
starting, and just the support that we have gotten from Pellicome, the results that we are able to deliver using Pellicome and bioidentical hormones. It is just, we could not, I would not be where I am without you and the Pellicome team. So I would like to say thank you first, and encourage anybody who is considering to know that this is a company of integrity that is all about results and making the world a better place.
Yep.
And then to your question for supplements, oh my goodness, there are so many supplements that I love, but I'll try to narrow it down. For especially like thinking that age range of
Right.
50s, and even 40s, me in my mid 40s, like I'm paying very close attention to this. I would say amino acids to build muscle, creatine to help support muscle and workout recovery, micronutrients and electrolytes. And minerals. We are so depleted in this world we live in when we are living in this stressful life. Our adrenal glands, we're burning through those minerals. So really repleting those, especially since food sources nowadays are questionable.
Yep.
A detox support, just knowing that as we hopefully are adding in safe bioidentical hormones, we know that those hormones, we want to get the benefit, but then they're going to break down to metabolites. So we want to make sure that we are detoxing metabolites and also exogenous chemical mimickers that are blocking our receptor sites. So like a good kidney, liver detox support. And then also I would say, this is very sexy to talk about, but the importance of having a bowel movement every single day. And so many women are constipated. And when a person is constipated, the toxins that our GI tract is trying to eliminate with a bowel movement are sitting there, and we are reabsorbing all of those toxins. So a good supplement to really make sure that you're going every day. And then let's add in maybe some nitric oxide to vasodilate and deliver nutrients to places and remove toxins away. A stem cell support to boost your own stem cells, magnesium and vitamin D3. How's that? I'll stop there.
That is amazing, amazing. And believe me, I think
Well, I
that
got my shopping list.
you do have your shop. So well, come to Pellicome, you'll get like majority of those. But it's so funny, Christy, that you say that because about having bowel movements, because I have to tell you, I'm 54 and it's like the biggest complaint that majority of people they're hitting menopause or they're in menopause. And that is like such a major problem for all of us. You know what I mean? So it's interesting that, you're probably one of the only people that really are talking about that and making sure that we have that. And, I take regularly, an aloe supplement that we call Gastrom over, and I have to, you know what I mean? It's like in order to make myself, have those bowel movements and to detoxify my body. And I feel so much better for it. So I thank you for saying that one, because that's, I think, one that exactly you're saying. It's not a sexy topic to talk about. And so we always kind of push it aside.
But everybody poops.
You're talking to a guy who owns a ED clinic. I get it. Trust me, I get it. To make ED sexy is, that's an interesting, incredible though, for, it's a topic for another topic for another day. So anyways, guys, first of all, you both look amazing. You've got great auras about you, and I can tell, and my instincts tell me the reason that people respond to you is because you're the personification of exactly what you're talking about, and people can see through that really quick. If you've got someone who's, positioning themselves to be someone they're not, that's not going to fly in our society. So I give you all the credit in the world for your authenticity and walking it out. And it's a lot of work, I bet, to maintain your health, maintain your appearance, maintain your entrepreneurial spirit, your business, and to do all those things with some time for family and a walk in the woods it's a lot. And so I give you guys both, and I know how hard you work at it too, Melissa. I give you guys both a lot of credit for that. And so, and we're going to do our best to get this out to the listeners, and everyone will get a lot out of this. So Melissa, thank you. It's, as always, I enjoy spending time together. I look forward to our next episode, our 8th episode coming up soon. Dr. Christy, you are amazing. What's the website again, if people want to find you?
So I am most active through my Instagram,
Okay.
Dr.Christy.
Dr.Christy.
Yes.
So check her out, Dr.Christy. Enroll to get your complimentary email series with life-changing biohacks. And spoiler, you will learn how to put baking soda into your coffee. And that's a free tip. So we want to thank Dr. Christy for taking the time to spend with us today. We want to thank Melissa for hanging out. We want to thank Pelicomb, our sponsor, and also RegenMax, the one and only patented global treatment for the reversal of erectile dysfunction. Christy, thank you so much. Best of luck to you and your business, and your patients are better for having you in the world, as we all are.
Thank you so much. And this was so fun. It's so great to connect with aligned, like-minded, high vibe people. So thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to Better Mojo, Better Life with Melissa and Tim, sponsored by Pelicomb, the #1 solution for better living through science, and RegenMax, the only globally patented solution for the reversal of erectile dysfunction. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and invite you to download the podcast to stay connected with exciting new content. To leave a comment or ask a question, you can email us at tim@swcofusa.com.